All right, so over this series, we've thrown a ton of business improvement tools at you, right? So many acronyms, so many frameworks. It can feel a little overwhelming. But the big question is, how do they all fit together? Well, in this final explainer, we're going to pull it all together and build one ultimate toolkit.
And that's a totally fair question. I mean, after learning about dozens of these tools, you can kind of feel like you've got this garage just stuffed with shiny new equipment. But when a real problem actually pops up, you're just standing there wondering which wrench to grab. So how do we bring some order to all of this chaos?
Simple. We're going to organize them. Let's really lean into this idea of building the ultimate business toolkit. I want you to picture it, not just a messy pile of tools, but a perfectly organized toolbox, with a specific compartment for every single challenge you might face.
So here are the main compartments of our toolkit. First up, we've got setting a strategic compass. That's all about knowing where you're going. Next, we need to be hearing the customer's voice. After that, it's about mastering your core processes, the nitty-gritty of how you get things done. And finally, solving problems at the root. Pretty straightforward, right? Let's dive in. Okay, compartment number 1, setting a strategic compass. Look, first things first, you've got to know where you're going, right? This section is all about the tools that help you chart your course and navigate any potential risks along the way.
So how do we actually set that course? Well, we've got a couple of heavy hitters in our toolkit here. On the left, you've got Hoshin Kanri. Think of this as the big picture tool. It's perfect for getting the entire organization rowing in the same direction. Then, on the right, we have Management by Objectives, or MBO. This is more about the day-to-day grind, focusing everyone on hitting those super clear, specific, SMART goals.
But, a great strategy isn't just about pointing to a destination on a map. It's also about knowing where the storms are. And that's exactly where FMEA, or Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, comes in. This is your ultimate risk management tool. It forces you to ask that crucial question, what could possibly go wrong here? And to answer it before it actually does.
Okay, so our compass is set. We know where we're headed. Now it's time to open up the next compartment in our toolkit. And this one is all about turning our focus outward, to the customer. Because let's be real, success isn't about what you think is cool, it's about what they truly value. These are the tools that help you listen in.
And one of the absolute simplest but maybe most powerful listening devices you have is the Net Promoter Score, or NPS. It's brilliant because it cuts through all the noise and boils it down to one single critical question. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us? The answer tells you so much more than just if someone is satisfied. It's a direct line to their loyalty.
Now, the magic of NPS is how it breaks down your customers into 3 distinct groups. The people who give you a 9 or a 10, those are your promoters. They are your champions, your biggest fans. Then you have the passives, the 7s and 8s. They're fine. They're satisfied, but they're not singing your praises. And then everyone else, from 0 to 6, those are your detractors. Your final score is just your percentage of promoters minus your percentage of detractors. Simple as that.
But what if you need to get more granular? Well, we have 2 more amazing tools for that. QFD, sometimes called the House of Quality, is fantastic for taking what customers explicitly tell you they want and translating that directly into your design specs. But what about the things customers don't even know they want yet? That's where the Kano model shines. It helps you find those surprise and delight features that can really set you apart.
All right, let's recap. We've set our direction and we've listened carefully to our customers. So now it's time to look inward. We're opening the 3rd compartment, mastering your core processes. This is all about the how. How do you actually deliver that value efficiently and effectively?
And a fantastic place to start is with the theory of constraints. The core idea here is so simple but so powerful. In any process, there's always one thing that's slowing the whole system down, just one bottleneck. So these 5 steps are all about finding that constraint, squeezing every last drop of performance out of it, and then, once you've fixed it, you immediately start hunting for the next one. It's a cycle of relentless improvement.
And speaking of efficiency, you just can't have it in a messy, chaotic workplace. That is where 5S comes in. Think of this as the foundation for everything else. It's a super straightforward system for creating a clean, organized, and uncluttered workspace. You sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. When you do that, waste and problems literally have nowhere to hide.
So how do you manage the flow of work in that super organized space? With Kanban. The word literally means signal card, and it's this simple but powerful system that prevents you from making too much stuff too soon. Instead of pushing work onto the next person, Kanban creates a pull system. Work only moves ahead when there's a clear signal that it's needed. This is how you avoid overproduction, which is one of the biggest forms of waste.
And that brings us to our final compartment. Because let's be honest, no matter how great your strategy is or how clean your workspace is, things are going to go wrong. It's inevitable. The real difference is in how you react. These tools are all about getting past the quick fixes and finding permanent solutions.
The entire philosophy behind this section is called root cause analysis, or RCA, and the name says it all. We are not interested in just slapping a Band-Aid on the symptom. We want to dig down and find the fundamental underlying reason the problem happened in the first place, so we can make sure it never, ever happens again.
But how do you actually do that? How do you dig deep enough to find the real root cause? That's the million-dollar question, right? It's so easy to just stop at the first, most obvious answer, which is almost always just a symptom. So what tools do we have to help us keep digging?
Well, one of the most famous and honestly most effective tools is also one of the simplest. It's called the 5 Whys technique, and it is literally as simple as it sounds. A problem happens, you ask why. You get an answer. You ask why about that answer. You keep doing this, and by about the 5th why, you've usually moved way past the obvious symptoms and are staring right at the root cause.
Now, sometimes, for really complex issues, the 5 whys might feel a little too simple. That's when you can pull out a bigger tool, the fishbone diagram, also known as an Ishikawa diagram. This is a fantastic visual tool that helps your whole team brainstorm all the potential causes for a problem, neatly organizing them into categories so you can see the whole picture at once.
So there you have it. We've built our toolkit. We have compartments for strategy, for customers, for processes, and for problems. But wait, there's actually one final tool we need to talk about, and it's maybe the most important one of all. It's not a framework or a chart. It's the mindset that powers the entire toolkit. And that mindset is perfectly captured by the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. Kaizen simply means continuous improvement. It's this deep belief that small, incremental changes made by everyone every single day lead to massive results over time. It's the engine that drives the whole thing.
And honestly, that's the real secret, isn't it? A great toolkit is essential, for sure, but it's the commitment to actually using it, to building a culture that is constantly looking for ways to improve. That's what leads to true excellence. That's what separates the good from the great.
Because when you step back and look at the whole thing, you realize that every single tool we've put in this toolkit, it all serves one ultimate goal, and that is to create a culture of continuous improvement, an organization that doesn't just improve when there's a crisis, but as its normal, everyday way of operating.
So there you have it. Your toolkit is now fully stocked and ready to go. Everything's organized. The only question left is the one right here on your screen. Which problem will you solve first?